Iran war and Israel war is an eye-opener. The wars that are happening around the world are proxy wars.
Yeah.
Ukraine cannot fight Russia.
Yeah.
Ukraine is not fighting Russia. The US and the rest of NATO indirectly is helping Ukraine to fight Russia. Education was a core part of Western civilization.
Yeah.
It's just it was done in different ways. It's really complicated or complex when people just think, the aim is just get black people out and what next? Maybe get Indians out, who's going to do the job? Immigration has always been a core, and it goes back to the times of slavery. Definitely. If you feel like you don't need hands to build the structures you built, why did you come in and get slaves to build it for you?
Andrew, do you think in 100 years to come, there will be a single pure white country?
Ideally, no. I mean, Scandinavia, for sure. What do you mean pure white?
Because the agenda of those guys is Australia for white.
Australia for the white.
That was their chant.
Absolutely.
But looking at this, I'd be
it's not. I can't go out there without sun cream.
But I was looking at it, maybe I was start thinking, how is this situation when the countries like South Africa, countries like these countries where the colonials stay longer, like Zimbabwe, where they stay longer, there should be some brave boys who try to Zimbabwe for black man. There should be some people who said the brave guys who try to do the same thing, but they end up conquered.
When I first came to Australia, and you just come into Australia with open mind. Life is. I came in here, I liked the country. I'm like, bro, this is a beautiful country. But I didn't know anyone when I came in here. I've told the story a couple of times. So I was just walking on the street, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, let me start talking to people to know where my uni is, my school is, and all that. And I remember there was this guy that I approached. I was like, well, I'm looking for the location to my school and all that.
Yep.
And it's like, and I was like, yeah, nigga. And he just did that in my face. Used the N-word. And he said that. And I was really upset. Cause bro, it's my day 2 in Australia. You see out of my back.
That's a nice welcome.
Coming from Nigeria, I was really upset. I dropped my back. I'm like, bro, what are you saying, man? What did you just say? And you know what's funny? There were 2 cops behind us that heard him. And they didn't do shit. But I think the cop were actually waiting for me to react. But as soon as I dropped my back, then you could see them moving towards me.
Welcome to episode 3 of The Handover. I'm Andrew with my co-host,
CY. Hey.
And we've got a special guest behind the camera today.
Man behind the camera is Jules.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
What's our happy thing? What's our banana bread? Sweet.
You like to eat banana bread?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I like to eat banana bread. I like to think about banana bread. I like to be around banana bread. What's your banana bread this week?
I think it's been a studio recently. Been hitting the studio a bit more. Yeah, recording. Planning to put out a new song.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, Shantae's out. Yeah, get it soon. What you been up to lately?
Give us a hint, man, about your song, because otherwise you need to introduce your music to your friends before you put it out there.
Let
us fucking destroy it.
It's definitely Afrobeat. Do Afrobeat songs, and this one is a bit aggressive. It's Afro pop, so watching this song. But so it's just once I put the song out, I'll definitely play it on the show and promote it on the show. Yes. Yeah.
One quick question about why don't we have better theme music?
We need to. Yeah. I'm gonna
just write a song. Just write another song. For me, who has no musical talent.
What? The next episode, I'll probably try and do the song on the show.
Hell yeah, excellent.
And you're a Jews have to dance, and
they
will have to see Jews dancing.
How about you, Jules? What's your banana bread for the week? What's something good from your week?
Nothing very special, just work and.
Just working. What do you do for work?
I work as a statistical programmer for a CRO.
Juice is a core part of what we do in soccer too. It's pretty good with trying to organize.
Is he a stats guy? He's like, Tony, you're down. Only 4 touches. Weak.
Actually, there's this rule of 2 touches.
He's only allowed to touch it twice. Because he'll fuck up the rest of the game.
So, Mr. Banana Bread, what have you been up to?
I've been writing my show. I didn't think I'd like writing a show. I always thought it would be so stressful. And it's stressful, but it's so much fun, and I'm so excited to be doing it. It's. I don't think it's going to be good, but I think I'm excited to be doing it.
Nice. Yeah, you have a major show coming up soon.
Yeah. I've got my debut hour coming up at the festival at the Melbourne Fringe.
Yeah.
Transcendence in a train. It's going to be great. I'll have posters and stuff all over socials soon.
Yeah. So, for everyone watching the show, buy your ticket to
Yes Chef.
Yeah, it's so today's topic would be, I want us to talk about one thing that society, it's a problem in society, and I feel like a lot of people kind of like shy away from it. And it's something that every race, every ethnic group is guilty of. Yeah. So it's just, I would like us to share personal experiences. I would like us to share what we've heard from people, what we've seen. The topic is about different bias in every race.
Yep.
I personally believe there is bias. There's elements of extremism and racism in every race.
So what do you mean bias in race?
One group of race sees this about this other group of race, and this group of race says this about this. Everyone is guilty of it.
Give us an example.
Good example.
Just say something fucking horrific.
Good example would be, I'll give two examples. The first one would be what my partner said about the Filipino community where she's from, and she mentioned something about how they would use the N-word to describe black people. And she made some sense because she's like, look, most of them are not being racist to black people. That's how they think black people are called naturally. Like that's how because of the fact that they watch a lot of Black American movie and all that, they would use the word not to offend, not typically, but that they think it's normal.
But doesn't that bring up the idea of intention? Like, just because, like, you're using that word to describe someone and be like, I don't mean it in the bad way. It's a bad word. You know what I mean? Like, there's no nice way to say something horrific.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here trying to justify why they use it. I've never been to the Philippines to be able to assess them in person.
Yeah, I think I might go just so I could just to have a holiday from just.
Sorry for interrupting. I think you mentioned that your partner she's from Philippines.
Yeah.
You're from Africa. You've never been to Philippines. I guess she never been to Africa. She picked up something on her way growing up. Cause the N-word didn't come out of blue. It came from somewhere.
Yeah.
As the topic of today is about trying to pick up from what we've come to say about your girlfriend and yourself.
Yeah.
There should be, going back to our topic about the bias of every race to the other, there should be somewhere where she pick up the N-word. And then you have never been to Philippines, she have never been to Africa. So which means you also have a bias towards Filipinos. Definitely there should be not only Filipinos, Asian.
I would have a bias when I love their girls.
Well, I mean that's a thing as well. Like a fetishizing of a certain race as well. Like there's that. But like, you had your preconceptions of Filipinos before you met your girlfriend as well.
Did I? I just think I like their girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bias I would have, if there's a bias I have towards Asians, I think honestly I've always been open-minded to everyone until I started watching tapes and seeing views about. So my bias towards Asians would just be more of a responsive one. Yeah, but recently I'm beginning to notice that racism is also something in Asia, even though I've never been there. Based on other people's experience, based on what I've seen on TV, and based on the experience I've had from someone close to me. It's something that's there. But where do you think theirs is coming from? Do you think it's a place of ignorance or something?
I can't say for certain. I know I was chatting to a friend of mine the other day, and he is convinced that it's cool for him to use the N-word because Asia had nothing to do with the N-word previously. Like, my theory is, like, just because you have no history with it. Are you guys aware of like Rocco's basilisk? It's this theory that there's this AI that's going to be invented eventually, and it's going to be like a god essentially, and it's going to punish everyone who hasn't actively worked towards bringing about its existence. So in that way, what I mean is, just because you didn't know just because you didn't have this idea, or you weren't involved in the reason why that word is offensive, doesn't mean that because you know now that it is, doesn't excuse your use of the word. I think that was the worst way I could have gone about. Just the longest walk to saying the N word is bad.
Me, I think it has to come from a place of ignorance, because I remember when I was at the uni, before I was Deakin. When I was Deakin, the school fees were quite high. I moved to a quite cheaper university. So in that university, there's like the whole class is like you're in New Delhi or somewhere in Bangalore. The whole class was Indian. I think I was the only black guy in the class. And then one guy, we're in the group assignment, and then he come to my head. He'd be like, "Hey, bro, you have curly hair. Is it because of hunger?"
Because of hunger? How the fuck does that work? Yeah.
He's hungry. The same way, I'm not going to say, you're dirty.
Yeah, it's...
Because that's what I've seen in the movie. That's what we're told.
Yeah, it's funny because I think the media has really done, and especially the Western media. But it's funny because it's not just the Western media. It's a lot of Asian media that are also covering the fact that Africa is a land of hunger. Like, people are just hungry there. And what they do usually is pick videos of kids that are in war. Yeah, in Africa, but like in war-stricken environment and all that. Like, really in a very, they in a poor state. Kids are in a poor state, but mainly in war zones. They pick up these kids, they capture images of them and video and project it to the world and tell us how Western or Asian agencies are trying to save them. But I also don't blame just them. I also blame the fact that African leaders are not doing their own part to, make sure these things don't happen, to make sure that those kids are well taken care of. You understand? So for me, if there's fingers to be pointed across every race of why those videos are rampant all over the world. So, but that being said, let's also move to this particular...
Yeah, because I would say it come from the place of ignorance, because that's a guy who was doing so-called masters. Yeah. Starts degree, and then he still have mentality that someone with the curly hair is because of hunger. It's funny. I think there's no fact behind it, but it's
as much as any racism. For sure, like, it's racism itself is ignorance, and no matter what it is, there's no validity to racism in my mind at all. Like, if you're saying something racist, your point is made moot by the fact you are a racist. Do you know what I mean?
What made someone racist in your opinion?
Holding racist opinions, like openly using racist language, espousing racist opinions. Yeah, it's those sorts of things.
Apart from racist words, what else can say? Look, this is, because most of the time there are people who are comfortable with the words or whatever you can say that they are comfortable. For example, we say you can say whatever you want to me. I'm not being offended, but what is beyond the words, whatever someone can say that will describe someone as a racist.
Racist attitudes, or like, is that what you're trying to get at, or?
Yeah.
What is a racist attitude? I mean, that's hard to define.
What would make someone be classified as racist is when I first came to Australia, and you just come into Australia with open mind. Life is. I came in here, I liked the country. I'm like, bro, this is a beautiful country.
Yeah, it is a beautiful country.
But I didn't know anyone when I came in here. I've told the story a couple of times. So I was just walking on the street, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, let me start talking to people to know where my uni is, my school is, and all that, so I can travel down there. And I remember there was this guy that I approached. I was like, well, I'm looking for the location to my school and all that.
Yep.
And it's like, I was like, yeah, nigga. And he just did that in my face. Used the N-word.
What race was this guy?
He's white.
Yeah, fucking hell.
But he's it's like from one of those extreme right wing, MAGA type of, and he said that, and I was really upset because I was like, bro, it's my day 2 in Australia. You get out of my back.
That's a nice welcome. That's a welcome to the country.
That's a real welcome to country. Yeah. Someone shouting the N-word in your face. Fucking hell.
And bro, but coming from Nigeria, I was really upset. I dropped my back. I'm like, bro, what are you saying, man? What did you just say? And you know what's funny? And I'm going to call it out. There were 2 cops behind us that heard him, and they didn't do shit.
No, because they were saying it's
none of their.
But I think the cop were actually waiting for me to react. But as soon as I dropped my bag, then you could see them moving towards me. So if I had gone and been upset and hit the guy, my day 2 in Australia, I would have been in jail. You understand? I would have been in jail my day two in Australia. But because I come from a background where, you know, dad has taught you well and all that, you know, like your aim here is to come here and succeed and all that. I don't let the ego or anger take the best of me. But now the case would not be it if it was another African kid that is not well grounded and doesn't understand that, look, the system is not specifically built for you to succeed, but if you do all the right things, you will succeed.
Is that something that you genuinely believe? That if you do all of the right things, you will?
You might not have the tools, like, let's say, and I think this applies to every other race. You will not have the tool as, like, say, a white kid that does the right thing. The things won't be readily available for you. But if you do push ahead and you do all the right things in Australia, I bet you. In Australia, I can't speak of other Western world. I bet you will.
Is that something that seems true to you as well?
It seems true for me. Because the beauty about Australian racism, it's you don't feel it when you're walking on the street. You don't feel it, which gives a peace of mind to strive and do whatever you need to do. But also, as you said, you need to make sure that you're in someone's house. You don't need to piss in the living room. If you keep that in mind, that you don't have to piss in someone's living room.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it.
There's more scrutiny, like you're being watched. There's no more than any other person, but it is what it is. And you just know, like, look, I'm good, but I don't get how you try to do it. There's the fake smile is there every day, every time. Like, it's something you have to get used to when you walk inside. And fake smile is a deep part of Australian culture. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to sit down and cry about it all the time. Just know that you're being watched twice. Do all the right thing. You know, it's not going to be perfect for you, but I believe the country does have that. I've not been to the United States, but based on what I've seen, I believe Australia, any day, anytime, I'll say it, and I would choose Australia any day, anytime. And if you do all the right things, and I mean, it's sad to use this word, but people are not getting shot by the cops like you see in the US. I mean, it's not the best example to give. It just shows that to an extent, the system itself is still a bit more disciplined than, say, compared to the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you're a different kind of brown or black, then it's a bit more dangerous, depending on, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, what Henry's saying is true, because I went to, last Saturday, I had an event in Geelong. This event happened on the private properties. And then this client told me, you know, the event is happening on private property. You don't need an attendee. You just come, set up your stuff, and then fuck off.
Yeah.
I went there. I was a bit late for half an hour. You know, the African thing, but that's not an excuse.
African time.
That's not be an excuse. So when I get there, I was a bit late, like half an hour. And then this lady would just hurry up, set up around people to get here when you're here. I said, but the way, like from the main street, when you enter the property, there's like 3 kilometers. I mean, driving in someone's property.
That's scary.
I was so scared, man. I now have to pull a coma and be like, this is where I am. If you don't see me again, at least you can know where I disappeared.
This is where to start the search.
Then guess what? The event was about dress up. Some people have this, you know, this thing they used to
a whip.
Oh, the whip. Oh, bro, I was so scared. You know, they have this fun. I mean, the fake guns, but for me, I thought this is real guns. This is not a fake gun. There's a cowboys dress ups. I'd be like, man, I have to text my wife. I'd be like, you know what? This is the
baby. I love you.
Current address. If I disappeared, at least you know.
Generational trauma.
By the time I said, because she paid the half, and then I was expecting for her to pay me the rest of the money by cash. I was even trying to rush so that I can get out of there. And she be, wait. You forgot your money. I'll be, oh yeah, pay me. Going back to set up, because the deal was I set up, I go back midnight and pack down. I said, look, I'm not gonna go back. These people, they might be drunk. So I was scared when everyone was sober. So going back when everyone is drunk, it's not safe. You know what? I go back in the morning. Yeah. I don't know. The deal was 6 hours for them to use the booth. I go back in the morning. I told this lady, you know what? Use the booth for the rest of the night. I picked up in the morning because I was so scared, man. So scared. A very huge private property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you disappear and that kind of property now.
And I guess, you know how when you're in the CBD and you're here, you see every race. You see Indian, Chinese. Oh, bro. This event, no.
It gets pale.
Certain class of people. Yeah. So
it gets pale real quick.
As you said, you need to do the right thing, but
Yeah, I know you always been definitely is there. A bit deeper into this conversation, and that's one thing I'm trying to wrap my head around. Why do a lot of right-wing Australians, I'm saying the extreme right-wing Australians, upset conversation around reconciliation, or like there's even this debate about not reading the Welcome to Australian thing? Why is it a big topic? Which I feel like if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It would 100% not be a big deal if it wasn't for the Murdoch media doing their best to fearmonger about giving Indigenous Australians a fucking voice to Parliament. Like, we have, like, it was one page and they made it out that it was this huge document that meant that everyone in the country now has to adopt an Indigenous baby. Like, you're not going to have like some Indigenous baby in your house now because they have a voice to Parliament. They don't want white food. Like they you know what I mean? Like they don't want that. That's not what it was about. It was just about a little bit of recognition, and because it's not even the whole step. Like it was supposed to be a small step towards reconciliation. They lost their fucking minds. They absolutely lost their fucking minds, and they were so quickly, like, even my parents, trying to have a conversation with my parents about it. I don't like to call them racist because they get mad, but like they were like, I just want what's best for my grandchildren. And I'm like, so do these people, so do Indigenous people. Like they want what's best for their grandchildren, and there is to guarantee safety. And having this conversation is like, no, they're going to take away. What is the biggest tool that the Murdoch media uses? Equality means that white people are losing out. And that is something that liberal, not the Labour sort of messaging, the liberal politics, not the Liberal Party, the liberal politics side of Australia needs to get across and into the mainstream, that equality does not mean that someone loses out. It means someone else gets to be on the same, like equality. That's what it means. No one's losing out in that situation.
The word equality will never exist in this world. Never.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think, yes, maybe opportunities. The world will never have equality.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you can call it maybe people.
Equity? What about equity?
We can never all be equal, right?
Maybe. Andrew, I also have a question. We've been talking about, he shared more of his experiences. We all went through experiences, but because we are immigrant in this country, and because we face all we have to face, and also we behave the way we have to behave, try to play according to the rules. As an Australian, as a white Australian man, this is your country.
I mean, it's not my country. It was stolen for me. It was not. It is not my country. I arrived here. My ancestors stole bread and then got shipped here. My lineage is literally criminal on one side of my family, and then colonizer on the other.
There's nothing wrong with it, because that's the history.
But I will not be happy with you.
Let me tell you.
I think
We have to understand.
You. I think Andrew has the right attitude with like saying, look, this is how the country was gotten, but also if we're having this conversation, be careful because there's other people on the other end, which I don't understand their struggle, but But
my point is, we have to understand that what is history? It's events that happen. Like today, we know to succeed, like from late people were succeeding, or people who jump into tech on early time. So back in days when whoever, whether it's Cook or his team, for their success was to go overseas, conquer the land, acquire the land. That was the way of succeeding, which is not going to be the same way. That's why we are finding our ways of jumping into tech, do whatever we want to do to succeed in life. That was their way of succeeding, which doesn't mean it was the right way. Because if let's say in 100 years to come, if people are going to scrutiny what is these big tech companies are doing, they find some evils they have been doing. So same thing her grandparents or her ancestor did. For them, during that time, There was red.
Conquer. You're saying people were allowed to conquer and take lands back.
That was that.
True, and I'm not saying it wasn't like totally. You're totally wrong. I'm just saying maybe what people, the people that suffered at that point will be saying is the level at which it was done, and was it really necessary? But look, I don't want to go deep into this conversation. I think it's something we should we definitely dissect it some other time. I'll just summarize what you've been trying to my view about that. Is what has happened to Aboriginals is really bad. There's no way we can go about it.
Very bad.
With Andrew's mindset is really good because he's saying this is what really happened and we should find a way to take care of those people and integrate them and not for what the Murdoch media is trying to divide and conquer, which has always been their strategy. Divide them according to race so they hate each other. That's what the media does a lot in Australia. We pray people like Andrew gets into politics and gets power.
I have one question for Andrew though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before my question was that, as you're saying, for us, me and Andrew and Tony and everyone might have faced a sort of any type of racism as white man in Australia. Have we ever faced any?
No, not in Australia. I don't think I've faced racism in Australia. But fortunately, I did live in England for 2 years, and so I copped a little bit in England, mainly thanks to a South African chef. So there's that, and he once told me. He's like, oh, you're into comedy, Andrew. You're into comedy. I've got a joke for you. With a joke for you, mate. What do you get when you cut an Aussie in half? I'm like, I don't know, man. What do you get when you cut an Aussie in half? He's like, 2 cunts. And I'm like, that's not how fractions work. That's not how that works. But even English chefs that I've worked with here, they're just little shit, you gotta skim the Aussie off the stock. So when you boil a stock, like a bone broth, the stuff that comes up to the top is scum. So he's referring to Aussies as scum. You have to take off the top of the broth. It's just little shit like that. It's a bit of casual racism that sort of banter between Britain and Australia especially.
I think the most racist thing I've heard about white people is that they are like Australian weather.
They are like Australian weather.
For weather in the day.
Melbourne weather?
They're like Melbourne weather, sorry.
White people are like Melbourne weather, why they change.
Yeah.
So you're expecting Andrew to go...
No, he's looking forward to seeing me real wet.
Definitely I'm saying what I've heard. And point I'm trying to make is every race has a bit of racism in them. Some show it more. Some hide it because they've been victim for so long. So it might be hard to point it out, But if you look deep, you'll see a bit of racism. And it takes me further to a different kind of conversation is being in Africa. You would have seen that the level of tribalism, which is equivalent to racism, because tribalism also people have committed genocide on tribal ground, as much as there's been genocide along racial, lines. You see the level of tribalism, for instance, in Africa, and even in other minority, people of color, all over the world. There's been a high level of tribalism, and sometimes it leads to genocide. We could talk about the Nigerian Biafran civil war, the 60s. We could talk about the Rwandan genocide, which that one still sounds funny to me because, you explain, it's two. They are kind of like the same tribe. It's just same different class.
Mm.
And then you look further and look at the Congo Civil War. The Congo Civil War, the South Sudanese wars, is still black on black. I know sometimes and this is my view. I don't give a fuck if anyone likes it or not. Sometimes we really try to blame the Western leaders for being the cause of those genocides and wars we have, which they do have a hand in it based on resources. But nobody can divide you or split you or try to get you to fuck your brother up if they've not seen a sign of you trying to do it. If they've not seen the fact that you are hungry for what your brother has.
Yeah, but jealousy is at the key of what you're saying there. If you're not jealous of your brother, then they can't take advantage of that. But I think jealousy is a natural thing. Without jealousy, you don't have drive. Do you know what I mean? Without seeing someone else succeed and being like, I want that success as well. It's how you go about it. And unfortunately, a lot of people fall for the easy way. They're like, all right, well, if I do this, if I just sort of take that, then if I get rid of this person who has the thing that I want, I can take the thing that he has. I think it's a natural thing. It's not a good thing, and it's taken advantage of by bad players.
A good example is Europeans were at war with themselves for so long. If there's anybody that has had into a tribal war, it's Europeans between the British and the French, each other like crazy. And then they got a common ground. It's like, why do we keep doing this to ourselves when we can go conquer these people? The same thing applies to the Chinese. If you go back to Chinese history, they fought each other. The amount of genocide they committed among themselves is crazy until they found a common ground. Yeah, and you can see that in every culture. What I'm saying is that many people of color are still killing themselves. I've not been able to sit down and be like, we need to protect ourselves first. A good example I always give is now we have someone like, okay, before that, let me give you an example. We've had great leaders in Africa. Yeah. We had Patrick Lumumba. We have Lumumba. We had Gaddafi. There's heaps of them, But the point is, we're not able to, build a form of like unity around those figures. What we had was other African leaders wanting to take them out. Their own people turning against them. And today we have someone like Traore, who's standing for the right cause, but there's still people in Africa trying to kill him. And I know there's the Western factor. But what I'm saying is that this thing has always been a common thing all across the world. The countries that are succeeding today found a way to, unite along something and be like, we can't keep living like this. We won't let anyone penetrate whatever we've had. Yeah. But that's one thing us Africans need to take account for, is like, do we have a fault in this whole thing? We are really not good with taking responsibility. And I'm not saying, like I said from the start of this conversation, there's the Western influence. But when you find a cause and build unity around the cause, let's say like the people of Burkina Faso are doing right now, they're really doing it. They're building the cause around Traore. People are defending him. There's a lot of, they've created a vigilante group where they do like rotating shifts just to protect him, make sure no one takes him off power.
I think I have a view on Western corporations into the conflict around the world, because it's easy to blame Africans or Middle Eastern not taking responsibility of what is happening in their countries. But from what we've seen in the last 2 years, from Gaza, from Ukraine, from Iran, you can't tell. If you're not playing according to the rules, you'll be fucked. So the reason why I'm seeing Traore on is he haven't touched to the people's interest. I mean, to the Western corporation interest.
Yes.
He hasn't yet.
Yes, it's chased them away.
Because if I give you an example of decent conflict in the DRC, the moment this M23 advancement goes to I don't know if you don't know those part of the East, but their advancement were trying to get closer to the big mining site of American. So that's when, this conflict has been for so long. No one have ever touched or even get closer to the American mining site back there. So by the time the M23 advancement goes closer to those sites, that's when America involved in. You see what happened? Within 2 weeks, this deal was signed. Look at what happened with the island. I think there's a global machine which controls or invite whoever have to sit on table, unless you were given a green light. If you look at the example of the Chinese, I think from my point of view, there's no fact behind it. That's my gut, my feelings.
There's no what?
There's no start or there's no research behind it. It's just my opinion. I think the reason why they were given a green light to be themselves.
No. Let's stick on fact. Yeah. I studied Chinese history, so I think one thing China did really right was, because if you go through the Mao Zedong revolution and all that, a lot of people died in China, and that was extreme communism. And what China did was they united across one cause. It's like, our people have died a lot from when the Japanese invaded us down to Mao Zedong and all that. And then for them, it's like, how do we prosper as a people? So when the Western corporation brought we can get cheap labor and all that in China, they embraced it like, okay, they had the master plan already. We're going to take over this thing from the Western corporations and all that. But they're like, we're your servants. We'll be the peasants for now. And they played their game really right. And they built the same thing around that same communist party. They built a strong structure. What communist party just tweaked was they knew communism is not good for the economy. It's good as a political ideology, as a party, but it's not working economically, and they just twisted that. The point I'm trying to make is, and also back to the Traore thing you said, Traore is chasing every corporation out. But the thing he did, which is smart, is he paid them off. If you read recent because he's paying them off. He's not trying to cause that kind of war. So get out, I'll seize it. He has the right to seize it and nationalize it. That would
be a disaster.
Yeah, it's like, I'll buy it out. And then now it's nationalized it. It's got every youth involved in making roads, creating roads, houses and all that. The conversation I'm trying to have here is, I am not saying I said it earlier, the Western corporation have a hand in everything that's happening in Africa. I can speak for that. But the point is, we give them the chance to do it. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. They use a tool called divide and conquer, divide and rule, and they've been using this thing for ages. And I'm saying the countries where they can't see this divide, or where the leaders have tried to contain that divide, it's really hard for them to have their ways in those countries. They can have one or two investment here, but they will have more investments and more establishment in countries that are more divided.
Yeah, that's like the traditional way of running, the way the British Army would involve like the people that they would fold in people into their army of the nation that they're conquering. That's how Idi Amin got into control when the British were leaving. But he was a soldier for them for a long time before, he was a British soldier and he was indoctrinated into that system. And so he ran it in a way that suited the British, which is the opposite of the way Traore seems to be doing it at the moment. Yeah. Which is, I think, the best idea, because they've got if they're being bought out, even though they're being bought out forcefully, like, hey, take this money or take nothing.
Yeah. And the point here is also, when we say it's really hard to break from Western corporation, this is not 15, 20 years ago. I will tell you, the West is beginning to have its own problems. It's not as dominant as it used to be. And it's becoming more expensive to run this, like, American military base overseas. Yeah. It's becoming more expensive. People are homeless in the United States. It's a pandemic. People are sick like never before, so it's like, why not take all that money you're using to run that base?
But I think, do you think that's going to make them more dangerous?
But how would you be more dangerous when China is not offering? Bro, the Iran war and the Israel war is an eye-opener. The wars that are happening around the world are proxy wars. Yeah. Ukraine cannot fight Russia. Yeah. Ukraine is not fighting Russia. Yeah. The US and the rest of NATO indirectly is helping Ukraine to fight Russia. The same thing with Iran. Iran cannot fight Israel and America. There's definitely people behind the scene. Proxy wars were happening all over the world. The point I'm trying to make here is, America is losing most of those proxy wars. And that is because I feel like with Russia, it's like, yeah, they have their own war. So they have to be a bit more strategic, involved in other people's war. But like Russia supporting you and all that means China somehow is getting pulled in. And regardless of the fact that America and NATO controls most military, I think they create more military gadgets, more guns and all that than Russia and China. I read something that the Chinese have the capacity to create more than them if they want to, but there's no need for it because they've got the factory, they've got the manpower. They can fast track everything. So if it ever gets to that point, they can mass produce weapons faster than NATO. So the point I'm trying to make is there's been a shift of power, and all I'm seeing right now is many countries should really stop focusing on what happened 50, 60 years ago. Yeah, those things happen. Those things are terrible and they're bad. I'm not supporting it. I'll never support it. But it's high time. This is the best time to break away from Western establishment if you want to. So if you're not breaking away from it, your leaders are actually corrupt and they're enriching themselves from it. I can speak for myself, Nigeria, right? I can speak for Nigeria. My leaders don't want to break away from it.
My guy.
So you get what I'm saying?
Because bonus, if you are coming from any part of the Africa and you see how powerful Nigerian people are, and you see how the puppet they put on power, you'd be like, why? These guys, they have
Nigerians, the worst presidents in the world, bro. We elect people that should.
Do you know in current Nigerian president?
Well, he should be in an aged care.
I should be in an aged care.
He should be in an aged care.
He should be in cave somewhere. I mean, in a mortuary somewhere.
About it. What's his deal? Like, why is he like Nigerian Biden?
Yes. Yeah. But I think he's stronger than Biden.
Biden. At least Biden could lead whatever the
Yeah.
But you can't even read, man. He's struggling.
That guy, bro. And it pays him. It pays the Western corporation for him to be in power.
It seems like he smoked a lot of drugs, man, when he was young.
Too harsh to my president.
We're gonna start a conflict right here. Look, I can insult my family. You can't insult my family.
You mean?
As you said, that there are some countries which are trying to break through. Like if you look at the
All I'm imagining is some sort of Nigerian Ozzy Osbourne in charge of the country. Like that's the painting you guys have painted for me.
He is, bro. Like the funny thing is, the countries that are trying to do well are our neighbors, next door neighbors, like the Sahel Alliance, with those three countries, and the countries that are west.
The Sahel Alliance.
The is alliance between Burkina Faso, Mali, and
Niger.
Again, they call them Niger or Niger, whatever. I think it's Niger. Yeah.
I just don't say it, just in case.
Yeah. They created an alliance that if you attack one of us, you attack the three of us. So the three of us will come for you. And they're really trying, most of them are getting themselves off debts that their ancestors have procured from like international banks and all that. They're trying to build their own structures and all that. And President of Nigeria was complaining the other day saying like, Tinubu is the problem, one of the problems with the region. And I think the Sierra Leonean president, the former Sierra, I don't know who's Sierra Leonean president, but I was watching a video saying Tinubu was one of the problems. Like Nigerian president is one of the problems because in the country, I don't know how true that is, but he's saying in some part of Nigeria, I think Sokoto part is where they have a base where they train terrorists to go attack those countries' pipeline or pump them into those countries. And I wouldn't doubt it because the northern part of Nigeria is like, there's a terrorism pandemic in that area. Like even the indigenous people of that, the entire northern Nigeria, like constantly are being killed and massacred by the terrorists.
So is there like a movement at the moment to get him out? Like how long has he been about? If he's a doddering old man that doesn't seem to be doing it, I think.
He's a old man, boy. He's a rugged man. You can't touch him. Yeah, but that guy has criminality in his blood, bro. His vice is from the other side of the country, and people have accused him of being that he might even be worse. Like he's one looks like extreme person. Like that's what it's the rumor, so we don't know. We can base on that. But yeah, I was gonna ask a question. Let's move on from this. Anybody see the video of the white supremacist group that Northland, yeah, and the fact that I think they were standing in front of a government office.
The shopping center.
The shopping center.
Northland.
Okay, shopping center. Yeah. Okay. And there was no cops and all that.
Yeah, because there were cops there. They were just in the group. Like,
why would you say that?
Why is that? Like, this is true. Cops are fucking awful.
We don't
know that, but we know that. Like, there was no cops because they did it at like 4 a.m. when the shops weren't open. There was no one else there. It was barely like the sun wasn't up. The sun wasn't even paying attention to them. You know what I mean? Like these guys, they did it at a piss weak effort at so early in the morning that no one else would be there to challenge them. And that's why they felt so brave to do it.
I think
because there was no one going to be there. There was going to be no reason to have cops there because no one's going to tell the cops because no one's there. And they think they're hard because they can be fucking neo-Nazis in Black Bloc. But like, then they're saying nothing. Then they're not brave because they're not sticking their necks out at all.
Yeah.
They're doing it in the safest way possible for themselves.
Yeah.
They're just being intimidating.
So, Andrew, do you think in 100 years to come, there will be a single pure white country?
Ideally, no. I mean, Scandinavia, for sure. What do you mean pure white? Like,
because the agenda of those guys is like Australia for white.
Oh, Australia for the white man.
That was their
absolutely.
But looking at this, I'd be like,
it's not. I can't go out there without sun cream.
But I was looking at it, maybe I was start thinking, how is this situation when the countries like South Africa, countries like these countries where the colonials stay longer, like Zimbabwe, where they stay longer, there should be some brave boys who try to Zimbabwe for black man.
This conversation.
There's Rwanda, not Rwanda, it was Rhodesia where that happened, wasn't it? There's Africa for the white man. What? No. Where are we supposed to go?
There should be some people who said like the brave guys who try to do the same thing, but they end up conquered. They end up being conquered. So I'm not saying they should be conquered, but
I think it's immigration has always been a part of immigration was a core part of Western civilization.
Yeah.
It's just it was done in different ways. And when someone says our aim is to achieve a pure white country, I don't think the elites of the society or the upper class that runs the business would be saying the same thing. I don't think the government would not think, it's a wise thing, because they need a workforce, they need a population that can work and all that. So it's really complicated or complex when people just think, the aim is just get black people out, and what next? Maybe get Indians out, who's going to do the job? Immigration has always been a core, and it goes back to the times of slavery. Definitely. If you feel like you don't need hands to build the structures you built, why did you come in and get slaves to build it for you? And after the elimination of slavery, and you use slaves in farms and all that for hundreds of years, and after that, you still needed to open up your border for people to travel. And it's for every civilization or every country that's advanced, they need people, and China could be a bit different because they already have a large population. If they didn't have that number of population, they would have imported people. Look at Japan today. Japan is really looking, and Japan would have no choice in the future than to open its borders for people to come. They won't have a choice. So it's if you really want to increase productivity here, you will need people. And a racist group in the one in Northland I just feel it's a bunch of uneducated people and all that.
I think what's happening in America at the moment with these ICE raids are going to have a huge impact on that kind of view in the mainstream, because what's happening at the moment is people who were farm workers and stuff like that aren't turning up to work in case they get apprehended. And so now crops are rotting. So America's going to have a food shortage because America doesn't have a lot of fresh food in their shops to begin with that it's affordable, and it's going to be less affordable because there's no one there to pick it, because they've all been either they're not going to work because they don't want to get arrested or they've been arrested. They've actually destroying farming communities. And some of them who voted, I've seen clips of people who voted for Trump that are I didn't think he was gonna do it like this. When I said I want the brown people out, I thought he meant the bad ones, not the one that worked for me. And now my business is ruined. It's the same short-sighted bullshit that happened with Brexit. Yeah. Brexit ruined so many small businesses. Yeah. And they were I didn't think it was going to affect me. Yeah. Because they see they're a one issue voter. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's I think this whole divide thing the media does all the time just ends up they know what they do. It's divide people so we can keep them confused and all that. And at the end of the day, as long as the people are fighting across race, ethnic and all that class, the upper class can be the real upper class and the political class can just end up making rules that benefit them, regulations that benefit them and all that. I wish the people would wisen up and smarten up. But it's been a great conversation. Yeah, so it's been a nice episode. It's good having you on the team. Welcome to the Handover.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you so much for having me.
And Mr. Andrew, it's been nice having a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's been nice having a conversation with you.
I wish you become the Prime Minister one day.
Before we round up, Andrew, the first word Andrew said was about banana stuff. What's that?
I forgot what's banana? So, there's this old meme, which is this guy is so excited because he's my mom, she said that if you wait for good things will come. And today at work, someone brought in banana bread. And I'm hell yeah, banana bread.
Banana bread.
And so I waited for things, and a good thing's come, and banana bread. So that's that makes me smile. The idea that someone's so excited about banana.
Chefs always have mixage of things. This is maybe his note of mixing a banana and bread.
Oh, have you never had banana bread?
I tried. I think I had one. But I was curious to know from the
Yeah.
shift perspective.
I think we're thinking of anything banana would mean something else to.
No. It wasn't that way.
Yeah, but it's been a nice conversation. It's been a good one. I really enjoyed the conversation. Would like you guys to leave your comments in the, views in the comment section.
Tell me where I said wrong. I really appreciate you guys bringing up a subject where I couldn't say half the shit. It's like word. That was fun for me. It was a nice way of you ingratiating into the podcast. It's like let's see if we can trick him into saying.
Yeah, so it's been a good conversation. Once more, thanks, Jules, and
thanks, Jules. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So we'll call it a wrap.